on doing the things that demonstrates your faithfulness to Him. Now, when you go or when you suffer a tribulation and you are patient in that tribulation, let's say people are persecuting you and you endure or you persevere. Now that is a demonstration of your faithfulness.
You've been made wise by so much religion. You always know what to do.
Greetings, beloved of God. Now today I want to give us a short word of encouragement. This is if you have been doing something for the Lord and it looks as if you're not getting something out of it. Now I just want to remind you that God is faithful. Now I have looked at this and I've seen this recur in my life personally. Now there's something that I've noticed about myself, that there's something that usually happens, something like a deliverance or God giving me information of something that I have been wanting to know, or Him showing me deliverance of whatever sort. Now this usually happens on that very day that I decided that I'm going to dedicate that day specifically for the Lord. Now, what I'm trying to put across is that whenever I set up a day to seek the face of God, God usually shows up in salvations. So that tells me that whenever I do something that demonstrates or shows faithfulness to God, God usually does something also to show His faithfulness towards me. Now that tells me and you that the Lord that we serve is a faithful God. So that translates to whatsoever you are doing, then it must be understood that God will always show Himself faithful. In whatsoever you are doing, God will always show Himself faithful. Now, you might not have seen it, or you might not see it outright or immediately, but let me submit to you that God will one day show Himself faithful. Now, Scripture says that even though we are unfaithful as men, God cannot deny Himself. Now, God denying Himself means that He will start doing as you are doing, or doing as we were doing. Now, that would imply a change in His own character, which is not possible. God cannot change in any way, shape, or form. Now, in the book of Malachi, it says, I am the Lord, I change not. So, that means that if you have been doing something that demonstrates God's faithfulness, God will show up. Now sometimes we do fail, sometimes we flop, but let me assure you that God cannot do like you. Why? Because He is a constant. He doesn't change. So that is to encourage you that you should keep on doing the things that demonstrates your faithfulness to Him. Now, when you go or when you suffer a tribulation and you are patient in that tribulation, let's say people are persecuting you and you endure or you persevere. Now that is a demonstration of your faithfulness to Him. Now when you do something that doesn't deny God, let's say someone asks you if you're born again and you stand on that word that yes, I am born again. Or let's say it is an action that demonstrates your faith in Jesus. Now that thing represents your faithfulness towards Him. So now this reminds me of what the testimony that Jesus Christ Himself gave towards His servant Antipas in the book of Revelations. That means that God was watching what Antipas was going through. So if you've been going through a tribulation and it gets tough and tough, now this is the word of the Lord for you today, that keep on being faithful. Why? Because God sees every bit of your faithfulness. God sees every bit of your faithfulness. If you have been faithful in preaching the word, if you have been faithful in ministering to the people of God, if you have been faithful in helping the poor, helping the needy, keep on doing it. Why? Because God is watching. Now that represents your faithfulness towards Him. And the scripture says that God cannot change. God is always faithful. So this is to remind you that keep on doing it. Keep on doing that which you have been doing, because God will surely reward every faithfulness that we demonstrate or that we pose towards Him. Now, when you are faithful, you are actually representing God well. You are representing Christ. Why? Because He Himself also walked that route or that route. He was faithful to the Father, faithful to the one who sent Him. So this is exactly the same way that we as children and sons of God ought to be faithful. So if you have been doing the work of the Lord, keep on doing. So today, this is a word that I wanted to share with you, just to give you an encouragement. So shalom and God bless you.